You don't notice it at first. That's the scariest part. Loving her doesn't feel like loss in the beginning. It feels like expansion, like finally being seen. Like your chest opening up in places you didn't know were closed. You feel taller when she laughs at your jokes, stronger when she leans into you, more real when she says your name softly, like it belongs to her now. So when the shrinking starts, you don't call it that, you call it love. It starts with small things. You stop finishing sentences because she already knows what you mean, or at least you think she does. You stop choosing the movie because she has better taste. You stop arguing because keeping the peace feels more important than being right. And somewhere in those tiny compromises, you begin to fold parts of yourself inward, like furniture being moved out of a room no one uses anymore. You tell yourself, this is maturity. This is what real love looks like. Two people blending. But blending isn't the same as disappearing. Here's the part no one warns you about. When you love her deeply and she becomes the emotional center of your world, your sense of size starts depending on how she sees you. Her approval becomes a mirror. When she's warm, you feel solid. When she's distant, you feel hollow. When she's disappointed, you feel small, like a kid being scolded even if she never raises her voice. You don't realize how much of your identity you've outsourced to her until one day you hear yourself asking permission for things you used to decide without thinking. What you wear, who you see, what you post, what you want. You adjust your volume, your opinions, your ambitions, slowly calibrating yourself around her moods, her needs, her wounds. And you tell yourself it's love. Because love is sacrifice, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth. Sacrifice without reciprocity isn't love, it's erosion. You didn't become smaller because you loved her. You became smaller because you started abandoning yourself to keep her. Think about it. When you first met her, you had edges, opinions, a life that existed before her. That version of you attracted her. But once the relationship became the place where you felt safest, you stopped protecting those edges. You let them soften. You let them go. You stopped doing things that made you feel powerful because they took time away from her. You stopped chasing goals because they made her feel insecure. You stopped expressing anger because it made her pull away. And every time you swallowed a feeling instead of expressing it, you taught your nervous system one thing: my needs are dangerous. So you learned to shrink them. Your voice got quieter. Your world got smaller. Your joy became conditional. And the worst part? She didn't have to ask for this. You did it voluntarily. Because love, especially for men, often comes with an unspoken rule. Be less so she can feel more. No one tells you that when love becomes your main source of validation, it also becomes your main source of self-doubt. Her silence hits harder than any insult. Her withdrawal feels like a verdict on your worth. You start replaying conversations, wondering where you messed up, what version of yourself you should have been to keep her close. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're human. The brain bonds through attachment. When you emotionally attach to her, your sense of safety wires itself around her presence. So when that presence feels unstable, hot and cold, loving then distant, your body reacts as if your survival is threatened. You don't feel like a man losing a relationship. You feel like a child losing connection. That's why you feel smaller. Because part of you has regressed into someone who needs her approval to feel okay. And here's something that hurts to admit. Sometimes the woman you love doesn't even realize she's standing on the parts of you laid down for her. She just knows she feels more powerful, more desired, more centered, while you feel like you're constantly trying to earn your place. Love isn't supposed to feel like auditioning for your own relationship, but you keep going, you keep giving, you keep bending. Because the moments when she's loving, when she's warm, affectionate, present, they feel like oxygen. And you tell yourself those moments are worth the shrinking, until one day you catch yourself in the mirror and don't recognize the man looking back. He looks tired. He looks careful. He looks smaller. Not physically. Internally. Your dreams feel embarrassing now. Your anger feels unjustified. Your boundaries feel negotiable. You feel guilty for wanting space, ambition, freedom, like those things are betrayals instead of basic human needs. And here's the brutal realization that usually comes too late. You didn't lose yourself overnight. You gave yourself away slowly in exchange for emotional safety. But safety that cost you your identity isn't safety. It's captivity with better lighting. So why does loving her make you feel smaller? Because somewhere along the way, love became about maintaining connection instead of maintaining yourself. Because you learned to measure your worth by how well you could keep her happy. Because you were taught by culture, by silence, by past wounds, that being a good man means being less visible, less demanding, less you. And because no one ever told you that real love doesn't require you to disappear. Here's the part that matters most, so listen closely. Feeling smaller after loving her doesn't mean you failed. It means you loved without limits in a world that didn't teach you how to protect yourself. It means you confused intensity with intimacy, connection with consumption, sacrifice with self-erasure. The pain you feel now isn't just heartbreak. It's grief for the version of you who existed before he learned to shrink, but that version isn't gone, he's just been quiet. And the moment you stop chasing her approval, stop rewriting yourself to be lovable, stop apologizing for having needs, that version starts to breathe again. Slowly, awkwardly, but honestly. You don't grow by proving your worth to someone who benefits from your self-doubt. You grow by reclaiming the parts of you that never should have been negotiable. Loving her made you feel smaller because you forgot one thing. Love should add to who you are, not subtract from it. And the day you remember that, really remember it, you won't feel small anymore. You'll feel whole.